magician, the lover in you. Every single day, we are called to walk in our purpose. Answer the call. Lay down your burden and anything that holds you back and take your rightful place. The battle is everywhere. It's right in your face. Let's go.
Welcome to Magnets, Crystals, and Pyramids. Success is your destiny. Yes. Love, wisdom, power. Remember always who you are. Yes. Yes. I am love, wisdom, power. Yes. Yes.
Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim.
Hey, family.
Okay, how you doing, Adara?
Oh, good. Hey, how are you, honey?
Family, pardon me. I'm using an iPhone instead of my laptop because I have it hooked up at the wrong location. So this will have to do. And my big fingers is having problems with all these little mini selections over here on the right. So without further ado, I am me. I am in Adara. I am in you, the listening audience. Thank you for being part of the show. Thank you for being born. We ask ascended masters to guide us through this show tonight. Goddess of love, Oshun, known by many tongues, Diana by the Greeks, Venus by the Romans, Aphrodite, Lakshmi. We ask that she guide the show tonight. Also, Simeon Toko, Saint Germain, Yeshua, Melchizedek, Buddha, Lady Buddha, Krishna, Lady Krishna. So without further ado, let's move into the show and get this boat on the flow.
Absolutely, absolutely.
What you got cooking, Adara? What you got cooking?
Oh, well, first and foremost is getting back home and like settling in and trying to like slow my mind down from being in traffic and all that good stuff. But really, I wanted to come up here just for a little while and talk to the people about this upcoming event that we have here in Atlanta called Elevate Intimacy. It is a donation-based event, and it's gonna be me and King Simon. He's gonna open it up for us and do a love in the numbers, you know what I'm saying, kind of conversation. And then I'm going to go into the energetic experience, doing some teaching. And I just want to let the family know about this and like the importance of us elevating our consciousness when it comes to not just our health and the traditional ways, but also our health in our sexual way, our intimate way, our emotional way, our connecting way, and also the power that lies dormant within you that you could be using to leverage the things that you want in life. So like a lot of us are frustrated because we think we're stuck in scenarios or stuck in situations that we can't find our way out of. But some of that, I ain't promising, but it's, as ancient text says, you can use these things to make your life easier, right? So all the same things you've been doing, if you put this energy behind it, this Kundalini energy or your natural free energy, even if you're not really attempting to do anything or to cultivate energy, you have energy that can be used, right?
Looking at that T-shirt, free hugs. Tell us about.
That's right, honey.
What's with that shirt? Because that's, you're representing. So let's start with the hugs before you get deeper in deep water.
Well, on the most simple level, I know that people are touch starved, right? And I just want to give people opportunity to, be able to get a little bit of touch when they need it, to be okay with, saying yes to embrace. A lot of people are scared to touch people. Also, I love hugs. They're very powerful. And then the philosophy behind it really is that our natural way is to give and receive love freely without all these conditions. You see what I'm saying? Like without all the politics that society makes us have to play within, we should be able to give and receive love, man. And the more we're able to just share it around a little bit, it doesn't have to be romantic love. It doesn't have to be anything, but it's like genuine, kind humanity to people, right? And so many people are starving for that. So we're gonna be giving out hugs. So if you need some hugs, come out to the thing. We got my little hug team out there. Yeah, so it's gonna be a nice little cozy event. I think people have a good time at my events. You know what I mean? I like to say that so far I haven't had any duds. People laugh and whatnot, and when we have a good time, right? So I want this to be the same thing, but I want people to give themselves a chance to experience themselves and go home with some real tools. So, like I said, it's donation based, and I'm doing a social experiment here, family. Like, don't be out here treat me like a hobo or something. But you know what I mean? I want people who don't have access to things normally to be able to have access, or I don't want you to feel like you're breaking the bank or anything like that to come. Like, you know, but show some love, right? So that's the only entry fee is showing some love, make a little donation, and bring some good energy. So
You know, I just finished doing massages in the park,
mm-hmm.
and there was one client. I didn't know how many I was going to have. I ended up having 3 clients, and one person in particular, and that's why I saw your shirt. It triggered the memory. I just got in the house. So, family, wherever you're listening from,
Me too.
put it in the chat. Whatever part of the world, whatever part of the country, whatever part of the globe, whether you think it's a slice of pizza or football or a frisbee, let us know. Where you're listening from is important to us. But I was actually massaging a person who had gotten and they literally through their skin, Adara, they felt touch starved.
Mm.
And I had a chair and I was sitting up underneath a cherry blossom tree. It was a real, bench right by. How prevalent since COVID is touch deprivation?
Ooh, it's bad. It's bad. Like we were already afraid of each other, like with cooties and all this other stuff. But like now after COVID, people have become much more comfortable just staying to themselves. And you know, the fact that they want it but are afraid to get it because all of the quote unquote negatives that come with it is sad, right? Because sometimes we only get touched when we're in relationships, and that could come with a whole bunch of hurt and trauma and all kind of stuff like that. Or we might try to touch people, like especially for men, we try to touch people or try to show love and show the embrace, and now our character is in question because we might have done it in a way that might have seemed inappropriate, or you see what I'm saying? So there's so much negative connotations around one touch, sensuality, sexuality, saying what you want and being open with it, authenticity and all this stuff, so that really people are in a fear box. You see what I'm saying? People are in a fear box, and joy is a liberating experience. Joy is a liberating tool. So is peace. So is ecstasy. So is happiness. And for all the people who are about the fight, like I think we all are, I think joy is one of the things and bliss is one of the things that's so revolutionary for our people, that if we really tapped into the power of it, there's nothing we can stop. And not even just for our people, but for the human family. If we were to take back our joy, our peace, our bliss, our comfort within ourselves, then it's so much harder for people to take advantage of us and abuse us. You see what I'm saying? Like, it's crazy. And it started with simple things like hugs and touches. Like, as a mom, when you're first holding your baby, like there's natural bonding chemicals within our bodies. That's even when you just look at them in certain ways, it makes you want to be closer to people. So we're going against our natural physiology. So I am an entrepreneur, obviously, clearly. I don't have a team. I don't have an assistant. I do everything myself, from the flyers to this to that. Hank, you get it, right? And there's a lot that's in here. You know what I mean? But I've noticed that if I just lay on my partner, it just seems like I just kind of relax, and all of the rumination and mind chatter and stuff, it just kind of, it just whips away. Like he really does ground me out. And I like to believe that it's the same with him, but I can feel it. I can feel it. Sometimes I'm like, man, I just need to, I don't care if I could just put my leg on you or just my foot on you or just like a little bit, and it just brings me down.
That is so deep because
Mhm.
after I worked on the one that was touch starved, and she was with two other sisters. So, you know,
Yeah.
everybody, and it became a party because I met up with a good friend of mine named Mandy and Danny, and I hadn't seen Danny in like a year. You know,
Uh-huh.
she works closely with Dooley. And
Nice.
and then I saw Mandy, hadn't seen her in a while because she's traveling. She always traveling the world. So we had like a party in the park, but it was like a, it was, but the purpose of the party was reflexology. I was doing reflex,
Nice.
but the one who was, I gave her a hug and I was like, "Come here, I'm gonna squeeze you till you holler." And it's where, you know, and it was fun. I squeezed her again. She went, ah. But her friends told me she's isolated since the shutdown and the lockdown. And
Mm-hmm.
her job,
Mm.
in her um, shock of adjustment, she put herself in isolation.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so we literally had like everybody was giving each other hugs. And it made me think about when a child newborn is deprived of touch.
Yeah.
That can be, yeah, so I salute you for your touch ministry. Now,
Absolutely.
Tantrika, how would
Hmm.
you describe touch? Is it necessarily physical? What? How would you describe it?
That is a good question. I don't think anybody's ever
Oh
asked me that
yeah,
question. I don't think anybody's ever asked me that question. How would I define touch? And I'm not obviously not going to talk about the clearly like when your hand gets to the and applies pressure. But for me, that's a good one.
okay.
I,
What's the
hmm?
what's the various ways, Adara, that you can touch? Because I seen you in work. I seen you in action.
Yeah,
Tell us about
yeah. So
those
there's
possibilities.
times. So there's times where you're just like, you know, touching, and even to myself, I do this all the time. If you guys haven't noticed, even up here, I be doing this, right?
I was watching.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, 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 yeah. Our body naturally puts itself, I would like to say, in a whole body mudra, if you will. And a lot of it starts with a light caress here and there and like getting our bodies to work together. So there's regular, just like I'm trying to get some tactile sensation, but there's other ones where you're trying to communicate. There's some where you're trying to bring energy in yourself, like brace yourself, like you see what I'm saying? Like it's the big one, or the baby's coming. That is a different kind of touch because what you're trying to communicate is it's so forceful because your whole body almost is locked up, right? So there's that kind of touch, and then there's touch where you're digging for deeper parts of themselves or their astral self or non-physical self. I like to touch in ways where I'm like digging for something. So we're talking energetically now. So if I'll just take my life in general. When I'm touching my kids, there's sometimes my youngest son, he does stuff and you like say something to him and he starts covering his mouth and he like get down in a ball and whatever else, right? So when I'm touching his back, I'm one trying to soothe him and calm him down. Two, I'm trying to get him in a place where he can hear me. Three, I'm trying to let him know that it's okay for him to be seen in some sort of way, right? Like, I don't know exactly what you're running from, but I can see that something has caused you to be self-conscious and you don't have to be. So it's like an empowering type of touch, right? So for me, it's anytime you are causing a sensation that causes feeling, if that makes sense. And the feeling doesn't have to be physical. So you could touch a nerve by saying something, right? You can
Ooh, that's powerful.
you, you see what I'm saying? It's the impact of something actually coming into your system, whether it's physical, mental, or emotional. You've been touched. You know, even when you're a little kind of crazy, you're touched. You right?
Oh,
Yeah, so it's a thing. It's a thing. It's a thing. It's a thing. So
now I got a question. Can touch be experienced through eyes?
absolutely, 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 absolutely. You can touch through your eyes. You can feel through your eyes. You can send energy through your eyes. You can So the thing is, like, we see ourselves as three-dimensional things, but we don't see ourselves as compressed layers. And I'm not even really sure the right word is, but imagine you could just like take parts of yourself and expand out and unfold, almost like a chessboard, but multiple layered chessboard, right? So you can feel for all kinds of portions of yourself, like within the eyes, and from that portion deep within yourself that you may not even know of, you can send out through your eyes and do something. So I was in the driveway earlier. I was doing some no, I was in my bed. I was doing some meditating. No, driveway. Yeah, after exercise, I was doing some meditating, and I was doing some manifestation work, and I felt like some pressure, like kind of like some lack. And I was like, nah, I don't really deal in lack. So I'm trying to learn this manifestations thing down to the letter. So I'm going to send an ask out from my divine God self, this inner dwelling, all sufficiency. I'm going to send, so reverse. I'm sending this out from my scared self, right? Out through my eyes. And then I'm feeling it come back from my deep all sustaining self, if you will. So in that, I was able to bring it in from my third eye and feel it into my heart and down into my root so fast that the thing that I was trying to manifest came within like maybe like an hour, hour and a half. And it was something that I thought that I was going to have to like spend a lot of money for. I thought it was something that was going to throw my timelines off, all of that. You see what I'm saying? So I kind of forgot the question because it's been a long day, but I just want people to know that you really, really have
That's real talk.
access. It's real talk, dog. I've been running
That's
since like
that's
3 a.m. Yeah, like I literally just got home, like you said. I literally just like ate a little soup and ran up here to make sure that we keep this thing going. But like I in doing this as a business, as a spiritual person, there are things that are human that you're going to experience. So you might experience lack sometimes, but you got to use your spiritual principles and your energetic principles to counteract that and not the physical way things. That's what I'm trying to say. Like I can go out there and try to rustle up and scrounge up money, or I can use this energy that's naturally inside of my body, naturally inside my being that I'm designed as to get it for me, right? Because if we believe that we're our divine selves, our divine self is always has enough to do what it needs to do. The earth always has enough to grow what it needs to do to make the minerals to put in your necklaces and stuff like that. It has everything it needs all the time. And that same energy is within you. We just don't know how to use it. So when I say I'm sitting here in my driveway, learning step by step how to access that and then put it to work in my life, and then saw the real results just by putting it out through the upper dantian, bringing it into the heart and pushing it out. It's the techniques can be just that simple. You see what I'm saying? Like it don't have to be hours of us just staring and chanting and doing affirmations and stuff like that. All we got to do is put the energy behind this stuff, family. Really, really, us not tapping into our subtle energy and us not using our energetic body is like walking around with 10 fingers but only using one off of each hand, right? It doesn't make sense, and we are not being as efficient as we can. And as times are changing and as technology is picking up and AI is advancing and the world is advancing, the way we interact with this world has to change and advance as well. So on Elevate Intimacy on Saturday, we are going to start opening up people to this energy and give them some real tangible techniques so they can start making the change in their life to get the promotions that they want, to get the love that they want, to get the health that they want, to manage their emotions and just be at peace and enjoy life, because that's what I really think is meant for.
well, the funny thing is, it was almost like you was watching me upload. I just uploaded your flyer just now,
See?
and you started talking about the upcoming event. I had an interesting experience earlier today, Adara. I saw a sister. We had some history 30 years ago.
Really?
First time that I actually sat down and had conversation with her. And she doesn't have children.
Mm-hmm.
Husband just died.
Mm-hmm.
What she had in a little baby carriage was her pet, Shih Tzu. I think they call him a little Shih Tzu.
Mm-hmm.
But this little
Yeah.
female dog is like 3 years old and very protective. Like, don't get hit. If you get close to her, I'm gonna rip you a new a-hole. That's how the dog is. So she was trying. She wanted to try the Kinkaliba tea. So I wanted her,
Mm-hmm.
but she wasn't able to pick up on it. So it took her a couple of minutes to get into her body.
Yeah.
Interesting thing was she was able to feel it when I held her hand. She went to lift the weight.
Yeah.
Then she was able to feel the Kinkaliba tea through the cup. But the interesting thing was, I said, okay, lift the weight. Now, then lift the weight while we have our eyes locked.
Mm-hmm.
And when we locked eyes, I looked in her eyes and I could see she still had love for me.
Oh wow. Oh wow.
And I picked up on it because that's what I've been practicing with the crystals. Like you got to pick up those
Yeah.
little micro moments.
Yeah.
What else can you pick up? I want to ask you, what else can you pick up from the
That's so funny that you said that, because I was right before I got here, I had picked up some food for my family. So I was sitting outside waiting for it to get finished. And there was this young man, he just was walking right into the restaurant. And I looked at him and I seen him eating his meal. I was like, oh yeah, he's about to get a pizza and he's about to get this, and that, right? I tell you, this little boy came out here, pizza and like a little drink or something, but I seen him eating the whole pizza. So this is a restaurant that sells pizza, gyros, mussels. They sell all kind of stuff, right? And pizza is like the main thing. But I just knew, because it wasn't even that I knew. I just saw the flash. It was just like a commercial popping up in my eye screen and coming back down. You see what I'm saying? It's like things have been speeding up so fast. I've been getting so much information. I have to work to stay grounded. You see what I'm saying? So like I have to make a conscious effort to exercise to keep my body in the game so that I don't just be up in the clouds. You know what I mean? And you can see way more than you want to see. I also tell people that.
Go ahead, girl. Talk about it.
Yeah. So like for me, I'm more touch psychic. I can see energy and all this other stuff, but I'm very glad that I don't just be seeing stuff walking across the backyard and you see what I'm saying? Like that's a lot for somebody to have to integrate into their psyche on a daily basis until you get used to it. Like if you were born that way and everybody around your family is like that, like, I think like how Mama Ella says, everybody in her family is that way and that's just how they live. But for the average person, that junk is tough, especially when you start seeing some of these elemental energies, like some of these rock spirits and some of these under earth spirits that look like stuff you might have seen on Lord of the Rings. Like this stuff can be gruesome, family. Or you see the people that you love with entities on them, or you can see the hurt. That's one thing that I just. I'm not gonna say I don't like, but it's just one of the things that I don't prefer about being able to see energy is to see the hurt on like children. You know what I mean? Or the despair that people put on themselves, because I can see thought patterns that people have built up on themselves, right? More than I see like dead people, I see the effects of emotions on people. And it's just not cool. And I'm like, if it feels this bad to see it, I can only imagine how bad it feels to feel it. You know what I mean? And so it makes my compassion grow, which is another reason why I do stuff like this event, like donation based, because we got to do something. Like we have to start leveling. And let me be fair. Energy has changed. Like we're in a really good place, like in the ages, but on a minimal scale or micro scale, person to person scale, we have work to do in brightening up our lives, bright using our inner light. You see what I'm saying? And yeah, I just prefer not to see all the darkness that's out there, you know. But if that's something that people are interested in, you know, hey.
I want to touch on touch. I remember hearing from the teachings of Dr. York.
Mm-hmm.
He described basically touch wherever your consciousness goes.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
if you put your consciousness, if you put your eyes in a book, you're touching the book.
Mm-hmm.
If you
Mm-hmm.
look at somebody, whether they lock their eyes with you or not, that's a form of touch. And I had experience a few nights ago of someone that I know that I literally went into like a dreamlike state in the middle of the night, especially around
Mm-hmm.
o'clock in the morning. And I connected with them, Adara family. When I checked my phone the next morning, because I mute my phone at night, they had called me
Mm-hmm.
half a world away.
Mm.
So that's
Mm-hmm.
a form of touch. When two people
Absolutely.
when two people are thinking about each other at the same time, would you describe that as a form of touch?
I would definitely describe it as a form of resonance. And in that place, it has to be touch, right? It has to be coming together. So if we're thinking about waves doing this, at some point they have to, you see
Harmonize.
what I'm saying? They have to harmonize and the phase has to line up just for that communication to come clear. Otherwise it's distortion, right? And when we're just quiet and still, or we're even sometimes when our mind is going crazy because it's designed to pick up these frequencies all up in the air. It's what it's designed to do. And it's funny that you guys were able to line up in that way. And, you know, I don't know if it was for an important reason or whatever else, but it's real interesting. So for me, that made me think of this experience. I was in my kitchen and I was like, my stomach was hurting and it had been hurting for a little while. And I was like, I just don't really have issues on my stomach like that. I wanted somebody to try to put something on me. You know what I mean?
I've been
And
hearing that so much lately. That is funny. I just
bro,
heard those women in the park saying, "What you got to protect me from?" You know.
yeah. Damn, folks be trying to hate, dog. And people want to like test you and stuff. Oh, use a shaman, let's see. Ugh. I'm like, okay, all right. I don't play those games, you know, but some people do, right? So, anyways, I'm old school. I'm like, I'm not putting out a gun unless we're trying to kill each other. And there's no point in that. Right? But I was like, I wonder. So I was sitting at the counter, like doing whatever I was doing. And I was like, and then I saw this thing crawling in my stomach. Like I had an image of this thing crawling in my stomach. And then I thought about this woman. And I was like, I know that it did some shit. Right. So when I go to my phone, her assistant texted me. And I texted her back, she never answered. And no, she has never texted me before. She's never called me before. And I still to this day have not heard from her other than that message she sent me in that moment that said, I really need to talk to you. And I'm like, oh, well, then. You know what I mean? So even like I said, with like root work and stuff like that, you can reach out and touch people. Like for real. Like your spirit can do all kind of things and it can detach from your body and go do stuff. Like it can split into multiple versions and go and do things and then come back here. Like I don't know if you ever had multiple people in one night say that they dreamed about you or you visit them in their dreams. So like, and in those scenarios, like you have what's called elementals. So there's elementals out in the world, like water elementals, earth elementals, fire, whatever else. But you also create elementals within yourself. And in the dream state, those elementals can go out and do certain things. That's also what the part of you that you're sending out when you're doing these meditations to go out and get things. These are part of your elementals, right? It's not just a thought that you're having when you're sending something out. There's something going out to do what you send it out to do. It has to, right? So when we're talking about the world realm of the spirit, any way that you could conceptualize touch happening, it can happen. You know what I mean? It
I
can happen.
you just said, because in the WhatsApp groups, we got 2 WhatsApp groups, family. Sometimes people put things that I don't want to touch it with my attention.
Yeah, yeah. Ooh.
How important is managing the touch of your attention?
Man, okay. That is like one of
Going there.
my biggest things, bro. Bro, that's okay.
What?
That's one of the reasons why I'm doing this event because I feel like there is some sort of evilness at play between this in this whole concept of man versus woman conversation. Because that joint had elevated from something, of course, it was always, man versus man, that, but now it's like from the high value, low value things to the list to who's getting married, who's getting picked, this and that, who's not worthy. It's really, really bad. And people have been reaching out to me trying to navigate within the mental illness that this is creating in people. And I feel like it is an overarching thing they're trying to release on people. Same thing like Vicky Diller was talking about the triggering that happened with the whole Diddy Cassie stuff, where he was abusing her and it was caught on video, like, and all the women who've ever been abused that saw that were probably triggered in that moment. You see what I'm saying?
Hold on now. The most unexposed abuse is in same
Mm-hmm.
gender violence.
Mm-hmm. 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 Mm-hmm.
The worst ass whooping I ever seen was not between a woman. It was between a woman beating down another woman.
It's crazy because like the level of anger that's in our culture these days, it's anger's always going to be there, right? But when you pair the anger with the self-hate and the lack of self-love and the hopelessness and this and that is being stacked upon each other that's happening right now, trying to counteract this whole ascension thing that that's popping off. I think those, and I'm not a big conspiracy theorist. There's like things that are planned against us and whatever else. So I'm not like one of those people that's like always pushing conspiracy theories, but I know spirit and I see spirits and I see the attack on the minds that's happening. And they've attacked us in all the ways. Like the family has been attacked, but now they're trying to push us so bad that we don't even want it and we're scared of it, right? Like the conversation about a dating pool being trash. That's not even really true. You see what I'm saying? The conversation of men are dangerous is not even true. Like you're saying, you like the worst one that you saw was between 2 women and us not even seeing the facts for what they are, right? So we knew that Diddy was ingrate just at the very minimum for years, right? And if this was a world that was conscientious, you see what I'm saying? They would have been careful. I ain't gonna say have been careful, but just in the media in general, they would be careful about the things that they show people, right? Like they showed Gaddafi's head hanging and stuff like that. They've showed people being beaten and abused and stuff like that. That shit triggers people. And beyond trying to educate folk about what's happening out there in the world, they're trying to traumatize people and get them locked in a fear state so they're afraid to touch, to connect with people, to be harmonious with people, to do business because you can't trust because they're going to steal and rob from you, to speak up for yourself because you're going to lose your job or you're going to die because of this thing that's going to kill everybody. Like they're trying to keep you in such a fear state in every way, shape, and form that you won't live life.
Okay,
so
I got another question for you.
Go ahead.
Some of the most diabolical, I had a conversation with a family member earlier, and she was sharing the diabolical of the female versus female, and that we don't hear much about, but boy, talking like sending negative thoughts and feelings due to anger, due to envy, due to
Mm-hmm.
like, how would you say, broken people are
Yeah.
they try to break people.
They try to break people. They try to break people.
What
And you know,
before this is the question I'm leading to. What is it
good.
about women that try to break other women? What is that all about?
I am going to approach this from my lofty point of view. I'm going to sit on my,
Ooh, okay. Lots
right.
point of view. All right.
So, because I was having the same conversation with my partner the other day, and I went to school for economics. I was going to seem like it makes sense, but I went to school for economics, and in that they tell you that economics is the management of scarce resources. So the powers that be have tricked everybody into thinking that things that are not scarce are scarcities. So in that, people think that social acceptance is a scarcity. They think that approval is a scarcity. They think that love is scarce. They think that there's only enough room at the top for you. There's only enough of this for you. So therefore, if anybody has it and they feel like they don't have it, now you have to attack and be brutal and be violent. And you see what I'm saying? Because they think that you're taking away from me in some sort of area. But really, it's not a personal thing. It's a social conditioning of scarcity that goes into economics and the world industrial complex. You see in all the world, like water is not a scarce resource, but we treat it like it is. Land is not scarce. There's plenty of fucking land, but why are y'all killing each other for this? Give these people some land. You have some land. Everybody live on goddamn land. There's resources everywhere. So why are we doing this for quote unquote resources? It's false. It's all of that stuff is a false narrative, and every person is being used as a pawn to continue this stuff, because as they do that, then you keep pushing that agenda forward and moving this machine. So you've drank the Kool-Aid. You decided to believe to not love yourself, and that you're trash, and that you're dirty, and that you're God, and that Keisha's better than you. And because you don't have this car, now you don't matter. And because this man has not chose you, that you don't even know, you haven't gotten married, you suck. And now you have to be angry at the world. When none of that stuff is based on any real truth. You know what I mean? And your body knows it, and that's why shit gives you cancer. That's why it jumps down. You see what I'm saying? That's how the emotional illness comes about, because your body knows that's not the effing truth. And it's just like morphing into cells that you use.
You just said a lot of illness is rooted in emotional scarcity.
Yeah. And some of the scarcity is like, emotion. You're going in and out a little bit. Say it one more time.
What does emotional scarcity look like?
Oh, so in like the most clinical way, we're looking at like sociopaths and serial killers. They're the people that emotion. Like, I think they don't have the chemicals that produce certain things, and they don't feel the same. And when you see somebody get hurt, they don't feel the same. So there's extremes like that. But then there's emotional scarcity where you won't allow. So there's emotional scarcity and there's transactional emotions, if you will, right? So you won't allow yourself to feel something unless certain conditions are met. And you are causing your own scarcity. Again, a false narrative. So you won't allow yourself to have something because it's not perfect. And granted, there is the whole conversation of just actions and discipline. I'm not in all of that. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about people who will deny themselves any good thing because they don't think that they should interact with it. Or people who are like extreme stoicists and they're stuck in their mind. So they won't allow their body to feel, because feeling can be scary. It can be painful. Like feeling isn't always great. So people are always trying to protect themselves. So they get locked up in the mind. And when you do that, you are literally creating a scarcity within your body and within your emotional and deeper self, right? Because I don't want to just talk about the emotions in that way. I want you guys to understand that emotions is a transient space into the other aspects of yourself. right? So if you look at your aura, you have layers here, it's wiggly here, and there's more solid layer here, wiggly layer, more solid layer, or more permeable, impermeable, permeable, impermeable. So one layer is kind of solid, another layer is more fluid, boom, 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 boom. So if your physical body is solid, this next emotional body is more fluid. So it's easier to send energy through that into your mental body, and it's easier for your mental body to be affected from that, right? So we got to, if you don't have an understanding of the subtle energy body, this might sound a little like what you're talking about, but just think about the egg that you see around people. That's made of layers. All right. And your emotional body lives in certain parts of those layers. And by not accessing your emotions, you get clogged up in each of these places. The only real way to keep your chakras balanced is by processing your emotions. So if you won't allow yourself to have them, you can pretty much guarantee that you have blocked chakras, meridians, things of that nature. That is definitely doing some counteracting to the goals and stuff you're trying to achieve. So that.
I'm ready to post your flyer for this upcoming event, June 15th.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Family, hold on 1 second while I send this so that I can post it right here. Adara, what's your website for people to get consultations service?
AdaraMoselle.com. You can also find the event there on the events tab, and you can reach out to me for consultation and get sessions from there. Somebody asked us what we think about the Terrence Howard Joe Rogan podcast. I don't know if you saw it.
Yeah, that's not focused on touching my brother or sister. That's
Yeah.
But Terrence Howard is he's an actor, and he's also a researcher. But we're focusing on Adara and the primal art of touch. So let's stay focused on the subject because Terrence Howard is not in the queue. So God bless Terrence Howard, but he is not the focus of tonight's show. So we got to focus and bring the touch of consciousness and attention. You know what? We got to change English. How could we change attention to in touch? Like how do we make touch focus?
Because, I think people don't see it as the same thing. Like it's different parts of the same line. So like I have an intention, and my intention is to touch it, and touching is the act of me acting out that intention. You see what I'm saying? They don't. It's the same process. It's not separated things. So if we were able to change people's perspective and more so the unity of all things, then they would probably understand the touch situation. And it's funny because like in this tantra world, I find descriptions of tantra all over the place, in places that you really wouldn't expect. And for me, the most important touch is me with my authenticity and me with my divine self, right? And in that understanding where my divine self shows up at all times. So when listening to certain things, right, like you were mentioning the podcast, the brother was speaking tantra to me, right? It made perfect sense to me. And even in the healing and thinking about our emotions, like the empty space matters. You see what I'm saying? The empty space matters, and people don't want to go into the empty space, or what we call the shadow or the feminine, and they miss out and never touch the real aspects of their life, of their consciousness, and of their mind, and therefore don't get a chance to experience as many possibilities as they really, really can. So it's a thing. It's a thing. It's a thing. It's a thing. It's a thing.
Special acknowledgement to Sophia Renee. I think she's touching her porch with her attention. I think.
Yeah. So Sophia's one of my good friends, and I love her, man. She's awesome. She's awesome. She's awesome. She's good. People's very supportive, and I wish the best for her. So somebody else asked, how is porn related to this? Are you asking about the event or just the touch conversation, or what's what?
Oh yeah. Well, you know what? how dangerous is it when people can't manage the touch of their attention?
Oh, you're pretty much lost. If you can't control your attention and you're putting it everywhere, you are fair game for all kind of mental foolishness that they want to play on you, right? Excuse me, if all is mine, the most valuable resource that you have is your attention.
Eh,
You know
I
what I mean?
I exactly agree.
Yeah.
And that's why I am not focusing this show on Terrence Howard, because we're going to redirect the touch of our attention to someone has nothing to do with Adara's upcoming program. I thank you for the question, botanical brother, because we have to become touch masters with our attention. So
That's real. That's real though.
I see you caressing your knee, Adara. How will this workshop you're coming up with, will this lead to further touch mastery?
Well, I would like it to, but
Uh,
you know.
yeah. I,
I would like it to. I would like it to, but you know, I can't tell the people what to do. But I will give them uh some tools so that they can take their touch to another level. Because originally when I was doing this thing, I was gonna make it longer, right? And then I'm like, you know, it's a charity event and stuff like that. You can't give the people too much. And then there was also something with the venues had to change the time and stuff. But I was really gonna give y'all like a whole bunch of stuff. The demos, the massage, the this, the that, you know what I'm saying? And we were really, really, really going in, but that was spirit saying, hey, spoon feast the people. Spoon feast the people. But I will be doing some online classes about touch. I'm going to talk about pressure and things a little bit. There's going to be, if I have time, I might cover some techniques. But I'm going to do a demo with my partner, which you've never done a demo with me before at an event. So y'all get to see some real live tantric goodness. And hopefully y'all bring somebody, or if not, you're willing to interact with somebody there. Like, don't be scared, family. Like, y'all don't gotta be in love to interact with somebody a little bit and practice some energetics within yourself and them within themselves. And because y'all both work within yourself, you can both feel it outside yourself. Right. So, you know, just I hope to see you guys there. And if you come ready to interact, come ready to bring some good energy and an open mind, right? Because all you really need is one jewel. You see what I'm saying? You might just need one little thing to make it click. And I ain't guaranteeing that I have that, but you know, I'm pretty sure that I might have something for you. And you should come check it out. For real though. It's gonna be at Gallery 992, right across from Tassili's Raw Reality in the West End. So if you're in Atlanta and you're in this community, you're probably familiar with that area. Yeah, it's gonna be dope. We have sound bath happening. Like I said, King Simon's bringing the numbers of love, compatibility, and challenge. I'm sure, and some other things. You know, he likes to spin it in his masterful way. And I'm gonna come in and, you know, teach. Like y'all haven't seen me teach, but the teaching is real, man. The teaching is real, and the experience and energetic flow is real. So y'all pull up.
okay, this is June 15th.
Yeah.
What's the location? Hands-on Tantra and Intimacy
Yeah.
Workshop. Sound bath and Hape, Ben
Yeah.
and Vibes Network.
Yeah. Yeah.
King Simon, special acknowledgement to King Simon. Elevate,
Yeah.
connect, embrace, and heal. So in the struggle for people to manage the touch faculties of their attention, Adara, touch on how important it is to manage where you put your attention, because that's so touch intensive.
Yeah. So when it comes to your attention, you have to be cognizant of what you're trying to achieve, right? And the problem is a lot of us aren't trying to achieve anything in particular, so it's very wayward. So it's not okay. How do I want to say this? Your attention needs to be focused on something, right? Otherwise, it's going to be used against you. So you only have a certain amount of time to be alive. Your time is made up of moments, and your life is made up of choices and decisions. What decision are you making moment by moment by moment? That answer really is where you're putting your attention moment by moment by moment, right? So if I'm focused here, then I'm not focused on running the streets because I'm focused on having this conversation with y'all. And my conscious awareness is about growing my inner intelligence so that I can convey this information to you guys better and better and better. And that's where my attention lies. If my attention was just free for all, then I would be scrolling on my phone all day. I would be possibly making up random ass arguments. I would just be looking at all kinds of things and letting my energy just waft off. And that's not tantra. That's not energy alchemy. That's just not how we get down. Our energy is to be recycled back in us. That goes with our thoughts, our emotions, what we do with our time, what we don't do with our time, right? Because our time is precious, our attention is precious. These are the real scarce resources. You feel me? Like I was just talking about like the illusion of scarce resources. These are the real scarce resources. Your breath, your time, your attention are the real scarce resources, family. And when you start putting those things in some kind of productive route or just do something productive with it, guys, you're going to see that your life really changes. And just on the micro, like, is it productive for you to beat up on yourself? No, because it's gonna make you beat up on yourself more. Then you're gonna feel bad and be down in the dumps. You gotta bring all this energy, pull yourself out of the dumps to get up, to then start trying to do something. No, dog, just like catch yourself in that moment when you start beating up on yourself before you fall down a rabbit hole. Stop that trash and then say, you know what? I'm not perfect, but guess what? I'm gonna work towards this thing and I'm gonna switch my attention to those things that's gonna get me out of feeling that way. And the more you do it, boom, 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 boom. And now you don't remember those days or you have no recollection of the person who was aligned with all that foolishness. You see what I'm saying? So I hope that makes sense to people, man. I really do. It's your moment by moment mastery of your emotions. That's why meditation matters. Presence matters because all you have is this moment. You don't have tomorrow. I could drop dead in the middle of saying this. All I have is this moment with you right now. You see what I'm saying? And the master yogis, the master meditators are the ones who can be in that moment the most. And that's when you see Neo doing all of this, dodging bullets and all that foolishness, people creating things, me moving energy. It's in the moment, family. So that's what I got for that.
I just saw a visual from your description of a sandbox, a big one, and people in different parts of this sandbox creating their reality. Some making beautiful little castles, others making little monsters, and people gathering on the negative, watching it and becoming what they have their attention on.
Mm-hmm.
So I saw that just now when you was describing. I saw them because whatever we put our attention to, we become.
Mm-hmm.
I've
100%.
I've seen Adara, beautiful souls misdirecting the attention of their touch, attention, and their physical bodies becoming a sick, decrepit reflection of where they have put their collective touch attention.
It's real. It's real. It's real. It's real. It's real. It's so real. And for people who don't know, I'm also a shaman and stuff like that. I also do, plant medicine journeys and all that. And I've experienced a lot. And one of the things, especially being somebody who's been teaching this thing and is raising in that level of helping others, spirit just shows how unfortunate it is that people are lost in the illusion of what's going on here, and they miss this little bitty things in their life that are so easy that could help them get up out of that. And one of the biggest things, like you're saying, is the attention situation, is the unawareness of the fact that they have power, the unawareness of how their body works, to know that, like, we're talking about mirror neurons these days. Like, everybody's on the podcast now talking about, oh yeah, you got mirror neurons, it's going to make you do what you see. But if that's the case, how many people actually know that? Even though they say monkey see, monkey do. So I guess they was explaining that then. But right,
What?
mirror neurons. Yeah. So if I start, like, if you do this, if I do this, chances are you're gonna start scratching your face. Like, that's a mirror neuron action, right? Or yeah, you just start somewhat replicating the things that you see. So there's a part of our body that our mind that does, brain that does that, not mind, brain that does that. And then there's a reticulating operating system that looks for more of what you want to see, right? So there is a filtering process in our brain. I think it's happening in the amygdala. I could be wrong. A filtering process in our brain that tells you what to put your attention on. So from a scientific perspective, right? You're a fresh brain. You're a fresh person. Something inputs a stimuli. Mommy gives you, when you come out to the world, you may cry, you may not, right? You're in a whole new stimuli. You just came from this warm thing into this, right? And wait a minute, hold on. I'm tired, y'all. I'm tired. I forgot where I was gonna go. I had this whole thing. Hank, what was I saying? What were you saying? Give me the question back, because I had this whole thing, bruh.
I don't think it's that important, because it's like a phrase called morphic resonance or 100 monkey syndrome, where the monkey river sneakers, because the monkeys upriver picked up the vibration to wear sneakers when it's not needed.
Yes. Yeah.
So you put a new term to it, some kind of social media new age.
Oh, the mirror neurons?
Yeah. But that's,
the mirror neurons. That's the hot topic in the podcast world. The podcast scientists, right?
Just put the letters a little bit, give this a new meaning.
Yeah, but yeah, like, they've been telling us this stuff from the beginning of time, right? So I really had a point where I was going. I wish I had forgot it, but damn.
That's all right. We'll just flow and it'll come back.
Yeah, it'll come back.
Yeah, so
give me 30 seconds.
Again, show the flyer, stop the fighting, and enhance the elevate intimacy. This is a nice flyer.
Thank you. Thank
you. This often. We see more on social media, water pistols and and it's
yeah. If I could say something on intimacy, though, right before we head out of here, the whole concept of the Elevate Intimacy family is that we have a very small, narrow box of how we see things. And I want us to start expanding our perspective so that we get more out of this stuff. So when we talk about intimacy, oftentimes we're talking about like the hugging, the looking at each other in each other's eyes and all this other stuff. But really, 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 it's for you to be the real soul that you are on this planet. You see what I'm saying? And for those who you choose to spend your time with, and for those who you choose to invest energy in, how to do that with each other so that you guys can have a real relationship and not one of these pseudo things that leaves you all broken and battered. It's not going to be easy all the time. No relationship is easy all the time, not even the one with yourself, right? But when we have the tools to disarm the little bugs inside of us that want to put up fights, the things that want to lash out when we're triggered, instead of taking a breath and working through this thing, like, that comes from a personal power within. You see what I'm saying? I don't think people think about it like that. Like, when you're triggered, the desire to not let that trigger overtake you is a personal power. It's not something that you can just like learn and stuff. Like, you can do the exercises, but still it has to come from an inner energetic system. Like, we are power beings. Like, we run on electricity, we run on magnetism, we have to eat food for fuel. We are energetic, and as long as we keep ignoring that shit, we're not going to get what we want in our lives. Family, it's just not going to happen, bro. And if you do, you probably are managing your energy. And it don't have to look like doing qigong. It don't have to look like all the traditional stuff. I'm just trying to show you how to do this in the life you're already living. If you don't never meditate ever again in your life, or ever in your life, you can still do this. If you never stop eating pork, you can still do this. You can do this with a pork chop sandwich right now. You can harness your energy and put it towards something that can really better your life. And you'll probably not eat that pork. You won't finish the pork chop sandwich. You feel me? Like, we don't have to do nothing different. We already have all the tools, and all we got to do is just know that and just adjust a little bit. So
I like that.
we're elevating everything. Thank you. We're elevating everything. Yeah.
I'm gonna put the flyer back up here, family.
Yeah.
Are you going to have live streaming?
I'm not. You have to be in the building. You got to be in the building.
Okay, got you.
Yeah.
I want to thank all the comments.
Thanks y'all for coming up, family. I appreciate it.
And it was very colorful. I'm just scrolling through before we close out. Oh, there's a question.
Shoot, go for it.
Touch with my emotion.
Say one more time.
I block them a lot when I really want to release and let go, so I can be mentally free and be present. That's a good question, Stu89.
Yeah.
That's a very good question.
So honestly, you would. So there's a couple different ways, right? But I would recommend you doing it with somebody who can hold some space for you, because those people can tend to ask the questions that's going to open up and help unblock your feelings. And there's a way of doing that that's less triggering and traumatizing than just like you sitting in it and trying to like reach in or having repressed memories come up and stuff. Like, there's graceful ways that you can walk through your emotional process. You could possibly get a regression, like a hypnosis regression, to start opening up those doors. I'm big into breath work, and it doesn't have to be any particular kind, but just like allowing yourself to listen to your body. So you just do something simple, like just breathe into your heart, and just with every exhale, feel your back and your body just expand and open. And then when you inhale, breathe deeply and open up all of this, and exhale and just let sound come out. Like, the sound helps move the blockages. It helps move the energy in general. So you may not even say anything. You may not cry. You may not feel much, but just allowing the breath to open up. You may want to move a little bit. Go with that. Let it happen. Shake, bounce. You see what I'm saying? Hit something, and just start just throwing your feelings into that. Just get a pillow and start just throwing all your feelings into that. And just let it come out. If it's ugly, if it's not, whatever. And for some people, you might even have to like rent a little tiny cabin, or not tiny cabin because you might break something, but a cabin or someplace where you can be by yourself and just let your feelings out. Even if it's just talking out loud and trying to work your feelings out. But when that starts coming out, you want to let your body move. The restriction of the body is paired with the restriction of the emotions and your expression of that, right? So even in session, when you watch somebody, their mouth is like closed and tense in the jaws, you can see that they're blocking and trying to hold something in. The whole goal is to expand and create space. Space, right? Because if there's a blockage, it's because there's not enough space for this thing to pass through. Like, think of all this stuff as tubes. Think of it just like plumbing. There has to be enough space for the things to flow through. So we have the ability to change our capacity to flow at any given moment. Because we're mental, intentional beings, because we're divine, we can change the nature of the inner workings within us whenever we want to. So through the breath, because it is a switch, it is a lever, if you will. Through the heart, right? Through the root. Like, if you don't feel like things work out for you, if you feel like you're all alone, you need to strengthen in the root. Sit on the earth, bounce on the earth, sit up against the wall, and just like breathe in and just like deal with that pain that you may have about being supported. And then let your body bounce, let it shake, boom, 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 and then start breathing in the energy from the earth, right? So last couple things on this, because I'm really like this question. We talk about chakras, but we talk about it in such a general way that we don't take in consideration that everybody's on the planet for something different. So the information that they're supposed to get from the planet is different. So you can change the orientation of your chakras to receive certain things from the earth. So if you're dealing with your root and you're trying to be supported in a specific way, you can, through visualization, through intention, change the type of information that your root chakra is trying to bring in for you. It's going to bring in all the default things because it's trained to do that. But also what you desire can be a influencing factor in how your chakras work, right? Because like they all work together. So if you want something, right? You want something. It's in the will. Like you want it, you desire it, you will have it. You feel it in your heart, right? If you push it out down this way, you have, like I was saying before, you have to come in through the root to bring it into physicality. So if the earth knows how to sustain everything, this is shaman life again, right? If earth, the energy of the earth, the grids of the earth, they know how to sustain and put everything together. You want to have the energy coming from your earth star chakra, which is the chakra below your root chakra, opened up and lined up with your root chakra in this particular case. So you just meditate. Like you said, you're sitting up against the wall. You're frustrated because you don't feel supported. You're sitting on the ground and you're breathing in, expanding your root, and you're thinking about the thing that you want to achieve or want to experience. And then you just feel it kind of start spinning and locking into place with that earth star chakra. The color of the earth star chakra is brown, family. Brown, red, orange, yellow. You see what I'm saying? It's brown. So you can just like you imagine opening your other chakras, same thing, and just get them to work together and then breathe it out. Breathe, wiggle, move, boom, 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 tap, beat, whatever. And next thing you know, the next time you try to process your emotions, it'll be easier. So that was a lot, but whatever. Sorry.
Thank
Hope
you.
that answered your question.
There's a question from Samuel saying, how can we increase our attention? My take on it, I'm going to hold off. How do you increase your attention, Adara?
Oh, by using it. That's really all you can do. Like this is a muscle. So to be super conscious, you have to build your awareness and you have to unfocus, believe it or not. So I have this thing on my website called Energy Sensing 101 for Beginners. And in that, I'm showing people how to build their intuition. But we're so used to looking directly. You got to look more laterally and include all of the space, because all of the things that will make you super conscious is lying around in the empty space. It's not the things that are easy to see. It's you picking up and perceiving the empty space. So let's say I'm looking here at the camera. My face is here. The camera's right here, right? All of this stuff in the middle, I can focus on. I can choose to focus here, 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 and here. I don't have to focus on the stationary thing that's calling my attention. So when you learn to like slowly see these intermediate places, right? You're going to start seeing more out of your periphery. You're going to be seeing higher up at one time. And that's going to help you really, really become more conscious of everything. It might hurt sometimes. So I don't recommend you do it for long periods of time, like 1 to 2 minutes at a time. Or if you're looking up at the clear blue sky, you can look at the space between you and the sky. Like that's fun. You'll see orgone and all kind of stuff. But you're training your eyes to pick up more. And that's like the secret of speed reading. You're not going letter by letter by letter. You're seeing the whole page, boom, chunks. And that's really what the super consciousness is. And then the wisdom helps you digest all that stuff that you're looking for. So that's another thing we were talking about at the beginning, about seeing a bunch of stuff. All the information you get from your senses, you want to and need to be able to interpret it in some sort of way, or it will drive you crazy. This is why spiritual development is important. This is why education is important. This is why reading is important. So you can have as many different frameworks and lenses to look through to interpret all of the stuff that's happening, because all of the information of the universe is happening around you. And that's another reason why we have these built-in systems to focus on something, because there's everything out here. And you get to choose what you want to focus on, bringing it all the way back around. You get to choose what you want to focus on and what you want to be super conscious of. You don't want to just be super conscious. Just choose what you want to be conscious of and then expand yourself in that area.
Excellent response. I want to thank you, Adara. And
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
yeah, I'm glad. Let's do it again in the near future. Family.
Yeah, we have some energy. Yeah, for sure.
This was fun. This was fun. So we're going to close out. And Night, night.
Night, night, family. Love y'all. Come out Saturday, man. Bring a friend.
Yeah. Catch y'all.
This is it.
I'm trying to turn this thing off. Let me see. I didn't turn it off yet. Hold on. Hang on, family. I'm gonna turn this off just a second. I'm trying to figure it out there. End stream.